Is that enough?
I think so.
I think so. That's
There you
enough. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Moscow Board of Adjustments meeting. We will start. First thing on the agenda is approval of minutes from the 31st, and they were very short. Did anybody have any corrections or clarifications to make?
Nope.
I did not either. Do I have a motion to approve?
I will motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Have one. Was not here. So those are approved 4-0 to 1. And now we are on to our public hearing.
All right.
And the accompaniment that's from.
There we go. She's muted.
Did you mute her?
No, I think she
Okay,
muted herself.
herself. Okay.
Oh, Wolverine. All right. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we have a public hearing for a conditional use permit at 722 East First Street. I always forget to turn the clicker on. There we go. The applicant has applied for a conditional use permit to convert the garage of an existing non-conforming duplex located at 722 East First Street into living space. The structure is currently a duplex located within the single-family zone, which makes it legally non-conforming and requires a CUP to be enlarged or altered as a duplex. The existing garage is approximately 231 square feet, and the applicant proposes to construct a bedroom, a bathroom, and a small closet in the existing garage space. This is the aerials of the proposed subject property, which is here. East City Park is to the southeast, and St. Mary's Church to the west. The remaining area is predominantly single-family residence. Closer up of the subject property, a little bit of background. It was originally built in 1974 by the current owner. It was built as a two-family dwelling and was permitted at that time. Zoning changes were made around 1980. The dwelling is currently non-conforming legally. In 1981, a variance was approved to enclose a covered patio which would encroach into the rear yard setback. This is a photo of the subject property from the front. The zoning is moderate density, which is single-family residential, and it's an R2. R2 zoning districts, like I said, are moderate density. It's appropriate where the following circumstances are present. So single-family dwellings are predominant in the area. The terrain is not harshly irregular, and small lot sizes can be accommodated without extensive earthwork. Utilities and other public facilities are adequate for the densities allowed, and existing lot development patterns and policies embodied in the plan will also guide the application of this zoning district. Currently, zoning allows for only single-family dwellings, making this legally non-conforming property. And per Moscow City Code, the non-conforming structure may be enlarged or altered with the same zoning non-conformities through the issuance of a conditional use permit. All surrounding uses are residential with the exception of East City Park, as shown on the aerial map to the southeast and St. Mary's to the west. As here is an image of the zoning showing the R2 residential area in red, R3 in the yellow. This is the current floor plan of the duplex. As you can see, there's a garage here on this side, on the west side, and all living spaces. It's a living area, dining area, and kitchen on the main floor. The adjoining residence is the same floor plan. This is the upstairs. As you can see, all living spaces, bedrooms are all on the upper floor on both. This is the garage that is being proposed as the altered new living space. And this is the remodeled floor area, showing an 11 by 11 bedroom here, closet, and then bathroom. Parking requirements for two-family dwellings are 2 per dwelling unit, plus 1 for any bedroom in excess of 4 bedrooms. With the proposed alterations, the parking requirement will remain at 4 spaces. The applicant has provided a site plan accommodating for 4 parking spaces at the required 9 by 20 feet. And here is that proposed site plan showing those spaces. So it is, for those reasons, staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit located at 722 East First Street with no conditions. And if you see fit, direct staff to prepare relevant criteria and standards. I'd be happy to take any questions you have at this time.
Anybody have questions for staff? Okay, I have several.
Okay.
Did the city require them to insulate the walls and the floor above?
All of that will take place when the building permits are issued by the building department, when they review those building plans.
Okay, so at this point in their plans, that's voluntary?
Yes, at this point, those building plans have not been reviewed and approved by the building department, so if there's insulation in those walls, it would be a voluntary measure, yes.
Okay. So I guess the rest of these questions are going to be pointless if building hasn't reviewed it. Why are we adding additional heating and cooling to a house that isn't getting added occupancy? Why are we adding a door that swings out for egress purposes rather than in? But those are all building department questions that make this look like an apartment. It already has laundry, we're adding laundry. It already has heating and cooling, we're adding heating and cooling, and then we're insulating it as a separate individual space with an outswinging door. So, I wondered if the city had looked at that yet.
Well, the process that happens is once this is approved, it will go through the permitting process, and at that point, the building department and city staff will look at whether it meets building code, what's required, and one of the requirements is that for additions such as this, that there has to be communication between the residents through and through. There can't be a walled-off separate entrance to create a different apartment. It has to be, one of those requirements is that there is communication from the main house to, all other portions of the residence. So the building department will review the plans to make sure that they do meet all city code requirements. And as far as zoning is concerned, the plans as proposed do meet what's required as far as zoning and land use.
I know enough building code to know that it's not non-compliant. I just wondered if they had looked at it and had any concerns about that.
I think at the time when permits are issued, if there are concerns, those will be presented and addressed by the applicant, and they can revise plans as need be. But for the time being, it really is just a proposal for, can he move forward? Can he develop these plans further and apply for those permits?
I just wanted to make sure they weren't asked to add things to this at this point.
Nope.
Okay. You have questions?
Maybe answer them.
Oh, okay. Any other questions for staff? Nope.
Okay.
Thank you.
And of course. Why is it still sharing my screen? There we go.
All right, this public hearing is now open for public discussion. Would the applicant care to come up and speak about this?
Sure, if it'll help.
Yes. Please state your name and address into the mic.
My name is Gabe Hathaway. I'm at 722 East First Street, the property in question here.
Okay.
My wife over there is Susie Hathaway. She's the daughter of the owner of the property. So I'm the son-in-law of Gail Rogalski, who owns the place. She's 81. She had a stroke last year. And initially, we moved her into our place down in Meridian. And we made the decision earlier this year that that wasn't a good long-term solution, and we needed some additional support from our family. And we decided to come back up here and move into her place and remodel it so that she would have an opportunity to stay in her home for however long she's got left. So that's the purpose of this. The intention is not to develop it as an apartment. Both units of the duplex are, in fact, inhabited by Rogalskis, so it's not currently rented out to anybody else. It's all family living there. So that is the intent and the purpose of what we're trying to do. Certainly not trying to do anything weird. Just want to make sure she's taken care of and can stay in her home as long as she can.
Maybe you can answer the questions that I had, because obviously there's, added cost into a remodel that you wouldn't have to do. I'm just wondering why you're choosing to add additional HVAC and cooling and additional insulation and...
After consultation with a heating and cooling professional, we determined that it would be a better choice to add an independent heating and cooling unit in that space that she can control herself. As an older woman, she's often cold, and so that gives her the chance to control the thermostat in her own space and be as warm as she'd like to be without the rest of us sweating. And as far as the bathroom, obviously, we can't have her running up and down the stairs, so that's why we've got the bathroom, and the intention is to have a shower that if she progresses to the point where she needs a wheelchair, we'll be able to wheel her right in. And the purpose of the laundry in that space is so that she can have her own independent unit that she can use herself without interfering with the rest of the family as well.
Okay. As a designer, that's actually what I would have recommended. I just wanted you to state it for the record. But putting ducting through how that joist may or may not be running may or not have been feasible. So
Actually, it worked out. It's going to work beautifully.
Makes sense there. Any other questions for the applicant? No?
All right, thanks for the opportunity.
Susie, would you care to come up and make any comments? All right. Well, seeing no one else here, we did receive one letter from Shelley Stone against this. I'll read it. She wasn't able to make it tonight. Hello to the Board of Adjustments. I'm writing today to voice my household's disapproval of the proposed zoning allowance for 722 East First Street. I would first like to apologize for not attending in person. As a person with asthma, it is wiser for me not to be out in this smoke. I don't have asthma, and I don't want to be out in the smoke either. But Tyler Stone and I have lived at 116 North Howard Street for 8 years and have lived in Moscow since 2004. Our property corner is across the alley from 722 East First Street. We would like to voice our two concerns with this proposed change, namely parking and garbage. The occupants of 722 East First regularly have 5 or more vehicles parked on or near the property, none of which are put in any of its multiple garages. We worry that with more people living in this same space, there will be more parking congestion in and around the alley and First Street end. These vehicles are regularly parked in a way that encroaches on the public space of the alley and First Street. Similarly, the garbage and recycling cans remain outside the property's fence at all times, and the fence is as close to the alley as possible, so it makes the alley harder to navigate. There have also been instances over the years of larger garbage items, such as old water heaters that rolled around in the alley outside the property line for months, causing difficulty navigating, especially in the winter. We would love to see these residents clean out their garages and use them for parking. It seems irresponsible to destroy off-street parking in a neighborhood that has little. I believe that changing this zoning will not alleviate their space management problems and in fact will cause more encroachment into the public domain. Thank you for hearing our concerns. Michelle Stone and Tyler Stone at 1116 North Howard Street. So that's in the record. I guess I would have one comment on this. I don't believe we're changing the zoning.
Nope.
That correct?
Zoning stays the same.
All right. So to that concern, we aren't doing that. since this is a public hearing, and that was the only negative that you received, you are more than welcome to come back up and address this. Seems like their concerns were parking and garbage disposal. The parking has been addressed here. You meet what's required, and we oftentimes have to remind everybody that the street is first come, first serve, and it's the city's street. It's not our street, even in front of our houses. And garbage disposal is garbage disposal. But like I said, before I close the hearing, you're welcome to make comments.
I don't think I need to comment on that.
Fair enough. Anybody else? Well, actually, with that, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll open it up to the board, and we can discuss. Marshall?
Well, Joe, I think it's a real straightforward project. They're not increasing the building footprint. They're taking an unconditioned space and turning it into a conditioned space. And I think, you know, for what they want to do for their family member, I think it's a good fit. And I think I would, if everybody else wants to talk about it, I'm prepared to make a motion.
I don't have any concerns with it, and I'd be prepared to second Marshall's motion that's about to be made.
Fair enough. Any other comments before we start? Motions? Okay. I would add, basically on my comments earlier, it's using the same water supply. It's going to use the same sewer system, so it's not an independent apartment. That could be, you know, a third residence there. I wanted to make that clear in the hearing.
And it's an 11 by 11 room. It would be very difficult to
Yes.
turn that into an apartment.
And the new door does swing out,
Yeah.
but it doesn't swing outside. It swings into the foyer, so. Tim? Steve? Comments?
No, I think we've addressed any of the concerns I had, and that was, you know, possibly turning it into an apartment, and that's not their intent, and the size of it would make it a little bit difficult. And so that was my initial concern. I think that, like Marshall says, I think it's a good use of the space for what they want to do, and I think it's a good fit for the family.
Well, as a individual who has a 93-year-old mother in Illinois being taken care of in a memory care place, with my sisters there, I'm all for how families are able to come together and find a solution for their elderly parents. So I commend them for making the expense and relocating back to Moscow so they can take care of their mom. It's a lot of work.
Yes. It's very commendable that you're going to these lengths to take care of your people. It's great.
Joe?
Yes.
I'd move approval of the conditional use permit without conditions and direct staff to prepare a reasoned statement and relevant criteria and standards.
I would second that motion.
I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None? It passes with 7-0. That gets us on to board communications. I will share these. We actually have some handmade cards from the students at the recent daycare / school that we approved. It says, thank you. Dear Board of Adjustments, thank you. I'm excited to move into a new building. I love going to the Jubilee School from Kate, age 8. Here's another one. I think it's fair to share these.
I think you should.
Dear Board, thank you. Miriam, she's 5. And then the third one, a little bicycle, because we gave them a nice safe space in the back where there won't be vehicles. And it says, Dear Board of Adjustments, thank you for letting us move to a new building. I like to do math at Jubilee, from John, age 6. So, there, board communication. Any other business?
Just a reminder, relevant criteria and standards meeting, I think we have scheduled for September 17th at 5:30. Still on the agenda, or on the calendar.
And that would basically be to approve minutes for
For
this meeting.
tonight,
Correct.
right?
And,
Yep.
and you can turn those around in 2 days?
Yes,
Woo-hoo.
And did we decide, was that 5 o'clock or 5:30?
5:30, I believe.
5:30?
Right.
Yeah, that gives people commute time.
Didn't see that. Was that in the,
I didn't see that.
No,
It was in an email string
it was?
earlier this week.
Yeah.
I was sending out really messed up. And I thought I clarified it.
Well, I can
will
make
that work
it,
for everybody?
and
I can make it.
we would need
I
4,
cannot.
correct?
Yes, we need 4.
I probably can't, I mean, I
Okay.
could force myself to, but I'd rather not.
If we get 4, then we can make it
Just give
happen.
me a call, I can be here in 3 minutes.
Okay.
And that was at 5:30.
So is that, do we have 4?
I can be here. Yeah.
We're all talking about Friday, right?
No,
Thursday.
Thursday.
Oh, yeah, I can't be here
Okay,
Thursday.
so I think we've got 4 with Marshall, Mark,
Yeah, I have a
Joe.
conflict.
And Steve, you said you were
Yes.
also right?
Steve,
So that's
yep.
4 for sure.
Yep, and I think I heard
And Lauren,
Lorraine.
did I hear you? Can you be here?
I cannot, I have another meeting that time.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Well, we have 4
We've got
for
4.
sure, and Tim's a maybe, so
Perfect.
we should be fine.
Yep,
And on the 29th, right?
correct.
I probably can't, but how's it look? I think Jennifer did a
I think she
conflict
did a full,
resolution,
yeah.
came up with enough?
For the 29th?
I should be available.
And that's at 1900 or 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, yeah.
Yep,
If I get out of an earlier thing, I might, but then I won't have my name on the table, so.
we can put it out for you.
All right.
Well, that one's not even gonna be live, so we should be fine. Did I have a motion to close the meeting? Actually, I'll make a motion to close the meeting. Do I have a second?
Let's go home.
Is that a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Thank you.
I get to my grandson's birthday party, Zoom.